my God. Hey guys, how's it going? Sean, Blue Collar Daily. As always, I'm in my 2019 Mustang GT Premium with the 2650 Edelbrock TBS in stage 1.5 format called the Velocity Raptor. How's everybody doing? I'm doing pretty good. Yesterday I got my knees burned. It's a pretty funny story. I go in to get a temporary nerve block for testing, and I could tell it was working, you know, last time, and my blood pressure went up stroke level when they did it. So I'm like, hey, let's just skip this. And everything was okay till I got back there on the table, and I'm not taking any painkillers. You're really supposed to at least get conscious sedation when you do this, but I don't play anesthesia unless it's a major, like abdominal surgery or cutting the finger off or something. And anesthesia is what kills you 9 out of 10 times, not the surgeon. It's not the surgeon itself, it's the anesthesiologist. And trust me, my cousin's an anesthesiologist, so I'm not shitting on him. I'm just saying, in my case, I don't trust anesthesia. So anyway, I'm laying there and the needles are all they have to get the nerve, but they have to do it in such a way that doesn't cause muscle spasm and more pain than getting the nerve, the burning the nerve would actually put in there. So I'm sitting here, and since I'm fully conscious and alert, I'm able to guide him, you know, from spasms you can see down to microspasms down to locking up. Oh, you got it just right. He's got me hooked up to electrodes. He's getting ready to burn. We get to the lady gets a call, you know, don't know if my payer source is going to come through. When I'm sitting there, I have no sedation, conscious or otherwise. I have some locals that are wearing. I mean, I've been there a good bit, and for some reason my body processes lidocaine about 10 times faster than normal anyway. But found that out the hard way when I had oral surgery. Anyway, so I'm laying there, and they're like, hold up now, I don't know if they're gonna pay for it. And I'm just sitting there with these needles stuck in my knee, like deep in my leg, you know, above and below my knee. And I'm like, you know, come on now. And good on the doctor. He finally, after an insane amount of time, in my opinion, did call it and say, listen, I'm burning these nerves, I don't care. You know, this, I'm not subjecting him to any more of this torture. He didn't use the word torture, but unnecessary discomfort. And so he went ahead and burned them. Today's the next day, and I'm like, well, let me just see if I can walk out to my car. I gotta start trying to wean myself off my cane. Which brings me to the point that any of you would be concerned with is, you know, what's next? Well, what's next is we hope that works, because while you're seeing a lard ass in the screen, I had over a 6.5 year period lost almost 300 pounds and went to the gym every day and did my cardio and packed on a lot of muscle, which inexplicably has all left me in just a little over a year. So, you know, the hope is today I'm back at my car just as kind of a reward for going through yesterday. And hopefully as soon as tomorrow, maybe I can start getting back in the gym. I know you still don't care about that. But what that does affect is what we're doing with the car and how we're going, you know, how we go forward. The better I feel personally, the more I can do, the more aggressive I can be. All right, so what's up with the car? Nothing that I can prove. It's pretty vicious. I'm running the second gear leave tune right now. I was out playing around, trying to see if I could get anything out of that. It's useless. It's literally absolutely useless. These 305 NT05s just might as well not be on there. You might as well have donut spares on here, man. So I do have a buddy that's opening a shop back up that's going to be right in my hometown. I trust him to do the work. Good dude. We're going to do the last of our budget suspension stuff I should have already done, because as I've been out playing around the car and progressively giving it a little more and a little more and a little more and a little more juice, it's become pretty clear that, to me, I feel when I'm starting to load the car, or when the car gets crazy and gets unloaded, I feel the rear end shifting around back there, and I just don't have any experience with IRS. I don't understand the traits of IRS. Ladder bar, 4-leaf, fine, but IRS, man, I'm in the dark. I'm pretty much in the dark. Oh, wish this ground was dry right here. Let's see if we can get a little bit of lead just for posterity. This is probably going to end badly. Guys, I was a bitch and let out. Sorry, I had to pedal it. But anyway, we still got oil pressure. Looks like it. Okay. So you kind of see what I'm up against there. Honestly, that actually left better than normal. But I made the cardinal sin. I let off too much and it went to the next gear, and then I hit it again and it shifted back down. And that's the shit that will get this car turned around. That's completely my fault. Completely my fault. I should have lifted or stayed in it. Not lift and got back in it right there. I did it a little bit later, and that's fine, but completely my fault. Anyway, you just can't do that on this car and get anything out of it. But that brings me to the subject. That's a perfect example. That brings me to the subject. I want to get this, there's a few budget things I want to do. I want to locate this IRS in such a way as I can kind of feel what's going on back there. I want to lock it in. I feel all that movement, and I don't know what's IRS and what's tires, because it all just feels kind of loosey-goosey to me compared to what I'm used to. So, and back there, it didn't quite get up on top of the tire, up on top of the road as it normally does. It tried to dig a little bit. So the game plan is, I have some Steeda alignment kit, IRS alignment bushings, just to bring it into alignment and lock it in, bring it straight and lock it in. It's not so much about stop and wheel hop. As you can tell, I've pretty much got most of that stopped with just with my Viking doubles and my BMR uppers. But to me, it's more about solidifying the rear end. So me as a driver in limited traction situations like I just was, or like I am every time I get in this car, so I get a better feel for it, So I'm going to do the, I've got him. I'm just, I'm waiting on him to open his shop. Going to do the Steeda IRS alignment bushings, or inserts, whatever you want to call them. And then, the normal BMR CB005, I think it is, cradle lockout, and vertical links. And then I've got my BMR articulating upper shot mounts, and I got my Viking doubles. Once I lock it in, even to that degree, and we may do like adjustable camber plates if I have to, and possibly tow if I have to. This is the end of the budget stuff, but I want to at least get that on there and get more of a drag oriented alignment. One of my friends here actually is pretty well versed in Mustang. He wins a lot of street races with Mustang, and he had told me he'd run up to the alignment shop because evidently it's going to be hard to get an alignment shop to put it how it needs to be, but I realized that I need just like well, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. And it makes perfect sense to me. I want this car to squat, and I want to use the Vikings to hold it. I want to eventually get struts on the front with elongated springs that give the front end more lift and help and hold that there. And I want to, so in that squat, it just occurs to me, that's when I want my full contact patch. Like when I hit it a while ago, I want that tire flat. I want it to squat, transfer weight, hold that squat. Not indefinitely, but I want to hold that squat, you know, because the suspension isn't just about travel and application, it's also about timing. For instance, if your front suspension tops out faster than the inertia your car carries the car forward, you get wheelies if you got enough, but which everybody knows slows you down. But you can actually top out the suspension and unload the rear. It's like it's a seesaw effect. So I always think of suspension in terms, not just in terms of what I'm trying to do with holding or, you know, linear to radial lift, but also in terms of timing, getting the vents timed correctly, from the gear ratio, from power apply, how much initial traction I have with the tire that I have, you know, based on, you know, what the rear's doing, what the front's doing, and when they all start to settle back in. You know, it's the timing. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, I could put a 15-inch conversion tire on this thing and, you know, put the biggest damn tire stuff up under these whales, and no, you don't have to think about none of this shit. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it on a set of real street tires. You know, I'm gonna drive. If it starts raining right now, no problem. So anyway, and then I do have a drag pack set up, but I found that if you take the time to try to work and get that as best as it can be, that your drag pack's automatic up to a certain power level. We're talking about what I call sportsman level here. I'm talking about David Van Boor's 8-second shit, you know. I'm talking about, you know, high 9s, low 10s. And anyway, so at least want to get that on there and see how that feels, see what kind of feel I get out of the car. Just happened when I tried to pedal it, I've discovered the other thing too. This Edelbrock 2650 TBS blower, it's not blowing the engine up. It's not bad. And honestly, I don't even think the tune was inherently bad. It's got so much efficiency. Unlike my picky Pro Charges I've had, like my Dash 94 on my other car, where it scales with RPM, which is kind of how I would like it to do. It comes up, you know, just for numbers, you know, it starts off at 6, it goes to 15 at peak, shifts, it goes back to 8, 15 shifts back to 8, 15 back to 8, on through the gears. Now it'd be a little tighter with this 10-speed, but just for illustrations purposes. This blower here, man, it's making maximum boost before 3,000. If you're above 3,000, your foot's on the floor, you're not losing boost on the ship, you're gaining it. As you've got that blower spun up, it's giving you everything it's got. Then the engine shifts and doesn't need as much air because the RPM comes back. When it does, it's still getting that air delivery, so the boost actually spikes for a split second. And it's in that 2 to 3 spike that is just a little too much for the pump gas for the engine. That's my opinion. At 12 to 1, if it was 11 to 1, it'd be fine. If I was on the 85, it'd be fine. But on 93, and then if you pull timing, you're adding, you know, there's only so much timing you pull, only so much fueling, the fact your cat's backing up. So, I mean, there's a ton of variables here. But I will say this, assuming the motor's not blowed up right now, from that pull, I've already hit this engine more times at the reduced boost pressure, but using all the stage 2 components. And I'd take a couple PSI off of it if I could, and add a couple degrees of timing. But I'm running the biggest pulley that you could put on it, and the They only make a 15 over for the lower, and I've already paid nearly $1,000 for my 2-piece on my bouncer. I'm not about to. I may go to an Innovators West or something like that with a 10 over. But anyway, let's just see if we can get this down the road and keep the engine alive. But back to the original thought, this engine has already seen more wide open throttles, just like the one we just did, and then some. I mean, I've run it up to, I won't say the mile per hour, but let's just say I got 315 gears, a 27.5-inch tire, and it's seen the middle of the 6th. So it's already had more pulls on it than all the other engines combined that's been in the car. You know, mileage may vary. Lund Racing's awesome. Edelbrock's awesome. You know, my desire never was to hit 8s. I would like to hit 9 someday, but right now, with all the constant failure that I've had, man, I'll just be happy with a true driving around every day 10-second car. You know, be fine with me for a little while. So I just want to get, you know, we're going to do those suspension upgrades. We're going to take a little more air pressure out of the tires, and we're going to give it a little bit better try before we swap over to our drag pack. If the engine's still holding, if the transmission's still holding at that point, then I would like to really put some money into a good coilover shock on the front with higher travel, lower rate springs that are adjustable. And once we do that, I'll probably start to leave the suspension alone, and I'm getting all I can get out of suspension. You know, Lund works with you on the tune. They're trying to help you. And by the way, Lund Racing's been great to work with, man. They just really have. They've really got a handle on this blower. They helped, in my opinion, I believe they helped Edelbrock develop this blower. And even the Edelbrock guys, the guys that work at Edelbrock, use Lund for their personal shit. The ones that work at Edelbrock have Edelbrock blowers on their car. And I know this is running along like it always does, but I just like to give a shout out to Xander and Ken, Speedat 731, for getting that engine back together on Xander's car, getting that built.